Simone Biles was recently praised and criticized for deciding to step down from some Olympic tournaments. There's sides saying she was brave, sides saying she shouldn't do it, it sends a bad message. I don't really care, because the bigger discussion is that mental health is for the wealthy. If you like this stuff, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to do more of this stuff if you subscribe. It tells me that you like what I'm doing. Now, to move on, I remember all of my years of working minimum wage, hourly jobs, and if I were still doing that today, I can only imagine how I would feel about this conversation. That she's being praised for doing something that I don't even have the ability to do. I mean, sure, I technically could take a day off, but then I won't get paid, and then I won't be able to pay rent, which I already might not be able to pay. And that's going to be a lot worse for my mental health, getting thrown out of my apartment than, not having to do that day would be. And there's really no resources available when it comes to people in these situations. A lot of times because they don't actually have any time to even think about their mental health. But there are some things that they can do and I could do back then that really helped me. And one is kind of having a good group of friends, people that you can talk to, not using them as your mental health provider, obviously, but people that would be willing to listen to the stuff about your day if you'll listen to theirs. These little things can really help, and they can be coworkers, they can be family, but these types of things really help a person in this situation. Another big one is just to realize that you are either depressed or stressed or whatever litany of things you might be, suffering through, because your situation really does suck. And the weird thing about these types of mental health issues is we have this tendency to think that there's something wrong with us or something wrong with our brains. And I sort of remember that when I was dealing with these, crummy conditions, is that I would almost at some points just want to stop and cry, but I would be like, why do I feel this way? I have a job, I have a place to stay, I can eat tonight. Things aren't so bad. It's not like if someone in my family died when I'm sad and I have something to focus on. It's more like I feel like I'm sad for no reason. But that's sort of how these bad situations can trick us. And that's that you don't really realize how crummy your situation is sometimes. When you are working this hard for this little, nobody really respects you, you're not treated well, it's easy to write those little things off, but your subconscious knows, and it can make you feel these feelings. I thought I had depression. I am depressed and I have depression and it's a mental disorder. But the thing is, when I got a better life, my depression sort of just went away. And that's something that I know a lot of people today are dealing with right now, and they think it's more of a fault of their own than something actually wrong with their circumstances and something that they need to do something about. Now, if we move to the opposite end of the spectrum, or maybe just the other side, when you have a good salaried job, you can take mental health days. You are given an allotted amount of days to do that type of thing. You could just take a mental health day, say, I'm not feeling it today, sort of like Simone Biles did, and that's fine. In fact, it's encouraged in a lot of organizations today. Now, if you were to do that, right before you're supposed to do something really important, I don't know how exactly they're gonna let you do it, but people might be disappointed in you, but the fact is that you can do it. You, like Simone Biles, have that option and that ability to actually take a mental health day. Now, if we go to the middle part here, and this is where it gets sort of interesting, people that are in college. So this is a weird middle ground between not able to get mental health at all and able to utilize it. Where when you're in college, you do have mental health resources, and I mean, God, you better with how much it costs. A lot of universities offer free therapists, free psychologists, and lots of different types of support groups and things to help you when you're in this space. Now, the funny thing I noticed when I was in college is people, they are a little bit resistant to using it. And there's a few reasons for that. I know I was, because for one, you feel like you don't have enough time as it is, and you don't want to even think of devoting your time to something else. Another is that it comes across as being weak, and I would implore you to not think of it that way. In fact, one of the attributes, the characteristics of someone that does well in college is someone that's willing to use everything they can to their advantage. So if you feel okay most of the time, if you're stressed out, sometimes it just helps, even though you're fine, to just vent to somebody. And that's why these people are here. Now, of course, the reason that these things exist, there is a good way of saying it, that universities know that it's stressful and they want to help you through. And the other is that universities don't like headlines about students committing suicide. But the point is that they are there, and you should think of it more as a way to stay in shape versus you're needing it because you're out of shape. Use it as a preventative measure, and if it doesn't help or it's a waste of your time, then stop. Nobody's gonna make you go. And so college tends to just be a stressful time in a lot of people's lives, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. One is that you're young, and you are gonna have more mental health issues when you're young a lot of times. You're still trying to figure out how to cope with these things, and I find when you're young, it's a lot easier to think that this is some type of thing that is a fault of yours. And that's very, very untrue, because everyone has mental health issues the same way that they have physical health issues. And that's to say that nobody out there is just perfectly mentally stable, although they may want you to believe that that's the case. And that's because there's a lot of what we call stigma around mental health. Stigma is just what it is, and I don't think there's anything I or anyone else can do about it. But the truth is, college is just meant to be stressful, and I'll tell you why it is. When you're working a salaried job and you're working on something stressful, you know that kind of everyone is behind you. You have all the support that can be had. But when you're in college, you have more of this feeling that you're trying to be thrown out of society, or thrown out of a class in society anyway, or at least denied entry. That can be very stressful. Like when you go to take a test, you have this feeling that, what if I just sort of mess up? You know, what if something goes wrong? I have a bad day. I think I'm doing good, or maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have a lot of confidence. You're just afraid of what your future might look like. And that's very stressful. Worrying about your future, and I mean very physical things like how will you survive, that is a stressful thing. That causes a stress, and it's completely normal. One thing that really helps with that is to get friends in your degree program. That way you can struggle together. And struggling together is much better than struggling alone is. It does a few things for you. One is you can complain about the same things and talk about things that you feel are unfair to you. They're probably gonna be the same things. And beyond that, there's just something about it that's almost endearing to know that there's other people and they're like you, and you're obviously not much different than them. And we're all kind of put in a situation that we feel is bad, and we're gonna work together to get out of it. So, you know, there's a lot that can be done for mental health, but if you are having really bad issues, suicidal thoughts, anything like that, please get help for that. I'm gonna post this number that I'm pretty sure nobody ever uses, but here it is. Okay guys, so I hope this video helps somebody. If the only thing it does is lets you see someone who is moderately successful tell you that yes, this is normal, it's stressful, you're not messed up, you're not broken, I hope that it does help. All right everyone, have a good night.